So I've been trying to get into streaming a lot more just because I like it and it's fun, but obviously that brings out the techie inside of me where I just want to optimize and make everything just as smooth and seamless as possible. So I looked at the setup that I had, which is a Windows PC, which is actually going to be streaming and broadcasting the network to Twitch, X, YouTube, wherever I want to stream to, and I would be streaming on a MacBook, which I have set up, where there's two monitors connected to a headless MacBook, and traditionally, how you would kind of set something up like this is you'd have your camera connected via capture card to your Windows PC, and you'd have your MacBook set up with HDMI to another capture card, and you just mirror your screen. Now, the issue I ran into is I'm already using two external monitors, and they're 4K 60 FPS, so they're pretty heavy, and I didn't want to add an additional mirroring instance to my GPU where I'm like, man, there's got to be a better way to do this. I can already do a screen recording on my Mac, and that just kind of already works. So why can't I just have something similar for getting the Mac screen onto the Windows screen? I also have a 10 gigabit home network that I've recently worked on to make everything just super snappy and fast. And both the Windows machine and the Mac are connected onto that 10 gigabit network. So I'm like, why can't I just use the network as my HDMI cable to broadcast the network? So I did some research and I was like, wireless HDMI streaming, there's gotta be something out here because I know big events aren't doing everything over HDMI. And I found out about a service called NDI. And according to the official NDI.video website, NDI stands for Network Device Interface, a video connectivity standard that enables multimedia systems to identify and communicate with one another over IP to encode, transmit, and receive high-quality, low-latency, frame-accurate video and audio, and exchange metadata in real time. I don't really care about the metadata. All I care about is video, audio, low latency with high resolution. That's perfect for me. So I then did some research and I found out, sure enough, there is an NDI plugin that exists for OBS. All you gotta do is have OBS running on your macOS machine and you basically just set it up as a plugin and start streaming or broadcasting, I guess you would call it. Then on the Windows machine, you set up the plugin again and set it to receive. And this worked great. I was able to essentially have OBS running on my Mac, select a screen to share, and it would transmit over the network to the Windows machine, and I would see that there. But I had a couple of problems with that. First off, when I had OBS running on my Mac, for whatever reason, and I couldn't really tell, it was really resource intensive. I've got an M4 MacBook Pro M4 Max, I think. It's the Max chip. And it was the fans were spinning up every single time I was trying to do something. And it was just this is just not good to work with. So I'm like, that's an issue. Secondly, I was seeing around a second of latency transmit between me actually moving the mouse on the Mac screen and it showing up on the Windows machine, which isn't terrible, but for stream, it's kind of weird if I'm streaming and I react to something visually and the camera has no latency, but the screen then reacts a second later. It's just kind of a weird experience for chatters, but moreover, it doesn't just work. I need that just works factor. I don't want some hacky duct tape together compromise that's just weird. So that was issue number 2. Then issue number 3, for whatever reason, OBS would just crash if I tried to broadcast from the Mac anything above 1920 by 1080p at 30 FPS. And I'm like, I have two 4K monitors. Why can't, I know the network is not the issue here, and I know the Mac isn't an issue here because I've done 8K workflows on Premiere Pro before, and it's never been an issue. So I did some more research and I was like, hey, NDI has an SDK, and I am a developer. Why can't I just make my own plugin for broadcasting it? Why do I need OBS? So I fired up OpenCode, did some research, and was like, hey, can you look into this? I've got this project idea where I want to have a little menu bar tool icon that can allow me to select a screen to essentially send over the network. And it should be configured with NDI. It should allow me to set the frames per second, 30 or 60 FPS, and then it should also let me set the resolution that it's sent over the network at. And At first, I think I was using Claude Opus 4.7, and it came back with a lot of stuff. Well, using NDI at 4K resolution, 60 FPS over a standard network is a lot of bandwidth. I don't know if you want to do that, boss. And I'm like, dude, I have a 10 gigabit network. And it was like, most people think they have a 10 gigabit network, but they actually don't. I'm like, dude, here's the Windows IP, run a quick speed test. And it did like some bandwidth, like throughput tests, and it was like, oh, I see. I transferred a 20 gigabyte file in 2.3 seconds. Your network looks adequately sufficient for this thing. And I'm like, okay. Anyways, so I had it develop with Swift and the NDI SDK, a little menu bar tool icon. And this was really great because now, as you can see, I'm able to just click the menu bar, and then I can click and see whichever screen I want. It has a nice little red highlight, so that way I know which screen I'm referring to. Then once I click it, it starts streaming. And you can't really tell, but I can. When I start streaming it, it does not spin up and get like really hot, and the fans aren't just like woo and moving everything like that. It just kind of works. So good. That's the Mac side of that figured out. That's problems 1 and 2 figured out, where I can now do 4K 60 FPS without my Mac sounding like an F1 fighter jet. Now we have our third issue, or our second issue, I guess, where we still have that second of latency. And I'm like, oh man, there's gotta be a way that I can fix this, because it's just like pushing those frames over the network. There's gotta be a way that I can like receive it better on the OBS side. So I did a little bit of research, and turns out all I had to do was tweak the OBS plugin that was actually being used. And after I did that, I had to set the quality broadcast bitrate to highest, and then, funny enough, set the latency to lowest. And now it's around 10 milliseconds of latency, and I can literally control my Mac from my Windows machine, like looking at it, and there's no latency issues whatsoever. But yeah, the whole focus of this project was to make it just work. And now that's what it does. The Windows machine is always waiting for the freshest NDI broadcast. So even if I were to stop it or take my laptop somewhere else, come home and then replug it back in and start the stream, it would just pick that up and be ready to go. So now I hardly ever have to touch my Windows machine, because I have a custom Framer work louder keypad set up, where I can just start stream, stop stream, control all the scenes and everything like that. So I guess by my standards, everything just works. So yeah, until next time, I'll see you later.